All right, so we can get started. My name is Pawan. I'm going to talk about the basic features behind Whiteboard.chat. Anytime it's a small group this time, so if there are any questions, please type them out on the chat, and we'll pause and once in a while and address those questions. So just to get started, Whiteboard.chat is a fairly new edtech product. It was created during the pandemic, accidentally actually, for our own kids to start learning. And since then, teachers from around the world liked it so much that they started to give us feedback, and we started to just listen to the teachers, and we just did what they were asking us to do. So it's become a really robust platform with a lot of features, but at the same time, it is has a little bit of a learning curve. So that's where I'm hoping that we can help with some of that. I'll point you to some resources like videos and help document that you can go through offline. But please feel free to reach out to us anytime. Here is our email address on the bottom right, feedback@whiteboard.chat. We are pretty active on social media too. You can see the links up here on the top left. You can follow us or watch our videos on YouTube and stuff. So I'll hit this button, start drawing to get started. There are two modes Whiteboard.chat works in. One is a regular collaboration mode where any other whiteboard, but everybody ends up on the same board and they can write over each other, they can delete each other's work. What we are going to primarily focus on today is this teaching mode, where each student gets a copy of the teacher's board, and you can use that board to live teach them either individually or in groups. So I'm going to focus on that mode. So you hit this button. Deliberately, there is no login because you can use Whiteboard.chat without registering, without logging in, any of that, right? So it helps with some of those things. I cannot disturb. When I need it, it's not there. Oh, nobody can. All right, so this gets started. The whiteboard gets started. The first thing you do is check that you're on the instructor board on the top left. You can give it a name. Like, for example, this is Feb 10th webinar. Right? And it will save, all of your work gets saved automatically. There's no save button. You can go to manage boards at the end. I will show you during the thing as well, where you can see all your work getting saved and all your students' work getting saved as well. On the left-hand side is your main toolbar. The color of this toolbar changes when you change the color of your pen. Some teachers like it, some don't. So you can set it to either follow the colors or not. Kids love it. You can open this toolbar by clicking this little hamburger menu on the top, and then you can see what each of these tools means. Especially when you're getting started, you don't know what the tools stand for, even though there's a tool tip. So if you click this, it'll open it up. Most teachers start by uploading lessons. So you can hit the upload button. You can upload your files from a computer, from Google Drive. You can upload Bingo. You can use your phone as a scanner as well. You can upload photos, audio, video from a webcam, all of that stuff, right? But I'm going to start simple. So just load a file, a PDF file from my laptop. So this PDF file has 3 pages. So for each page in the PDF, Whiteboard.chat creates a page. So there's page number 1, page number 2, right? This is my pen here. So page number 2 and page number 3. And so you can see that it created 3 pages. You can click this little thumbnail view to, so you can see all of them and you can navigate directly from one to the other. And once you have all your lesson prepared, you can annotate on it using the pen. You can type on it using the little thing here, right? So you can, and then you can invite students. So to invite students, this is an important step. Use this little invite button on the top right, right? This invite button, if you click, it'll give you various options. You can scan, the students can scan with a QR code, but what most teachers do is that they either use the class code they copy this link, or they can share directly in Teams or in Google Classroom, right? So these are two different options. I am going to just copy this link. I'm going to share it with my colleague Sid, so he can join as a student as well. And I'll show you the student view on the side too. So if I want to see a student view, I have to open an incognito browser and just I paste that link that I copied. And you'll see when the students join, they don't need an account. They don't need to sign in. They'll be just asked for a name. So they'll be said, oh, what's your name? This is student 1. And they'll get a copy of the teacher's board. Let me change the color here so it's obvious that this is a student. Let me change it to green. Right. So now you can see that the student got a copy of what the teacher put on. They can start writing on it. They can start typing on it. Right. But one cool thing is that the students cannot erase anything that the teacher has put. So you do not need to lock anything. You do not need to worry about the students erasing any of your work. Right. So the students can only erase the stuff in green, which they have done, but they cannot erase anything else. Right. So I'll stop. Sorry.
Spread your love and generosity. We ask all this in your mighty name. Amen.
Why? It doesn't allow me to mute you. Okay, there you go. All right. Yeah. So, and then from the teacher's perspective, this is the main marquee feature, the observability in the engagement. You can go to this thing called a grid view, right? And in the grid view, let me change this so it's more visible. I can make a 2x2 grid. You can actually see what the students are doing live, right? So you can observe, Sid is drawing something. If this student does something, you can see it's almost like there's a camera on top of each kid's shoulder, and you can watch them as they're working live through the lesson, right? And in here, you can join them one-on-one. Now I've joined the student. So you notice that the top here says student board on the left side, and it says student 1. So I'm on student 1's board, and I can work with them one-on-one. You say, okay, good job. Right? So let's say, right? And you can give them stickers. So we have over 2,000 different stickers here. We put like seasonal stickers as well. So let's say there's a Valentine's sticker. So you give them a Valentine's sticker, right? And then you can go back and keep observing the rest of the class. So this is the simplest thing. This is all you need to know about Whiteboard.chat. Everything else that I'm going to show you in this webinar is extra. This is how most 80% of the teachers use it. And just by observing students, giving them, assigning them lessons, and then working with them one-on-one, joining them one-on-one. This is how all you need to know really, right? So I'll pause here for a second and see if you have any questions.
There's just one question, whether you can upload a Word doc.
So the Microsoft documents you cannot upload directly, but you can convert it to a PDF. So just say print it to PDF or convert to PDF, and then you can upload. Whereas Google documents, you can upload directly via this upload from Google.
Yeah, no more questions.
Okay. So one other thing that I recommend if you're going to start up using Whiteboard.chat, right? You can just click this settings here, right? On the top, right? You see there is this starter mode, right? If you're just starting off and you don't want to see a lot of things, just turn on the starter mode, right? It'll make your life simpler because it hides most of the complex functions away. So you don't even see them, right? You can just use the pen, you can use the typing thing, and same for the students. The students even get a much simpler view. They just get 4 tools, right? A drawing tool, a move tool, an eraser, and a text tool. That's it, right? And they can just use that to keep working. And once you are familiar with the product, then you can turn off, go back to this gear menu, turn off the starter mode, and then you can explore much more, right? But that's the basic stuff, you turn on the starter mode, and then you can just use the starter mode to get familiar with the product as it goes along. So I'll go to page number 4 and I'll continue showing some of the other things. So on the left, we'll explore the toolbar on the left. So on the left side, I showed you there's a pen, there's a line drawing tool, there's an arrow drawing tool, there's a curve drawing tool as well, which is useful for drawing. If you are a mathematics teacher, right? A maths teacher asked us to add this. We can actually add, make graphs and stuff with it. Of course, we have in here, if you go to the grids, we have a bunch of background grids as well, including graph paper, right? So you can actually create a lot of interesting lessons out of this thing. So I will show you all of these things, but so there's a graph. In the shapes section also, you can draw regular shapes like circles, rectangles, triangles, polygons. Even in the triangle we recently added, you can actually give two angles of two sides, right? If you say I want one triangle which is 120 and 30 degrees, it will create a triangle. And you can use this in conjunction with, if you go to our, on the right hand side, we go to the gizmos, and under manipulatives, you can actually find a whole bunch of things, which I will show you as well. But of course, there's a protractor as well, right? So again, all of these things came from teachers and they asked us to put these things. And so we welcome any suggestions, any comments that you might have. This magic draw is pretty cool too. So if you're not a good artist like me, right, you can, it can try and guess what you're trying to draw. Like for example, if I'm trying to draw a house, and it'll give me a much nicer version of the house, right, so to use. So it has AI to detect what I'm drawing, and then it'll substitute it for an actual drawing tool, right? The little chat bot on the bottom also, the Wobot it's called, and it can also do that. Please draw me a dog. It takes a little bit to warm up because not many people use it, but once it does, you'll see. And you can of course ask.
One quick question while you wait there, Pawan, is this a free product?
Yes, it is a free product. Most of the functions I'm going to show you today are free. There is a paid plan for storage and some of the advanced functions, but all of the things I'm showing you right now is all free. Right? So there you see the little dog came out. So, and then you can actually animate any other objects too. So if you use this select tool here, this select tool, you can pick any of the objects. You can go to animate and say animate move. So especially with younger kids, to catch their attention, it's quite useful. You can make planes fly around, dogs move around, chicken crossing the road, whatever else. So, and the next thing is the text. So the text, there is the regular text. So you can just put a text box anywhere, right, and type, right? So you can make the text box bigger and smaller. So if you're doing like filling up forms, for example, on page 3, you can just click here and I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Okay, anyway. So yeah, and then on the second way, if you want to write longer paragraphs, you can use a rich text editor. So this is a fully it has a lot of formatting, so you can actually use it to write a longer pieces of sentences, right, and then save it as well, right? And then you can edit it if you click it again. Right, so that's the rich text editor. We do Whiteboard.chat does auto corrections as well, which I will not show you in this webinar because that gets too complex. But you can explore the videos, or there's a help section which I should show you. So before that, I'll show you this handwriting recognition. Again, this is pretty cool. It uses AI as well. So even if you're writing in cursive with a bad handwriting like me, right, it'll recognize what I'm trying to write and it'll convert it. And it does it for over 100 different languages. So not only just English, right? So if I were to pick, let's say, Hindi, it will not only recognize what I'm drawing in English, but it will also recognize Hindi and over 100 different languages, like I said. There's a math editor. This is pretty cool as well. So the math editor, you can actually use it two ways. Let me increase the font size. To increase the font size, this is the main toolbar on the top. So you can actually make highlighters, you can increase the font size, or you can increase the brush stroke or make it smaller, choose the font, all of that comes here. Right? So you can make, let's say you're writing an equation. Right? You can use this to latex type stuff, right? So it's quite useful. In this help section, there's a help section here. I recommend you can look through the teacher's guide and the student guide, and there's a top 100 features with links to videos, which you can see as well. And then there's a math input guide as well. In the math input guide, you can actually see what all you can type with the math equation editor. You can write quadratic equations, polynomials, fractions, summations, integration, any of that, right? We recently added a math equation solver as well. So this is pretty cool. So if you were to, let's say, write something like this, right? And the students can just use the equation solver to show their steps, right, as they're solving the equation. So example, this becomes real math, right? And then you can just show the steps one by one as you go through. Oops. Okay, not cooperating. Yeah, so sometimes what happens is that you get disconnected and then you need to refresh. So that's what happened. And any of the objects so you place on the screen can be erased by this eraser. There's an object eraser here, and that's really useful too. So you can use that to erase the objects, right? So that becomes, let me just skip this. So 3x equals 3, right? And then you can keep solving the equation as you go along. Okay, and then on the other side, so on the other writing tools, you can see there are notes, like post-it notes, if you will, right? Again, if I change my font size back to smaller size, so you can use post-it notes in different colors. You can say, put your text on there, right? Anything you want to put. That's all possible from here. Again, any of these tools, if you really like, for example, if you use the pink post-it note or not, you can click this little heart next to it and it'll put it right at the top of the toolbar. So you don't have to go deep in, you can favorite tools very easily, right? So you can put them right on top. So if you use them again and again, you'll find them easily. There's a whiteout tool for like if you just want to erase stuff, you can use that whiteout tool here. Upload stuff we showed you. The phone scanner is pretty cool as well. So you can actually connect, you or the students can connect just by scanning this QR code with your phone, right? So I can connect, for example, my QR code phone, and then you can use your phone as a scanner, right? So if you are doing work, for example, on a piece of paper and a pen, of course, you can use the webcam to scan stuff directly as well, right? Or you can just put page after page of the textbook right here, right? And then you can correct it. The teachers can see it. The students can see it. You can do any of that stuff that you want to on the piece of paper too. So this is also very useful, the phone scanner, if kids are doing work with real pieces of pen and paper. So again, stop for a second and see if questions. No.
There's yeah, no other question.
Right. So I'll show you some other tools here. This breakdown tool is pretty interesting as well. So if, like I was showing you the gizmos, right? They're manipulators. So let's say I have a math manipulator that is 100 block. Now I want to teach kids how it breaks down to smaller pieces. You can go here and use the breakdown tool, and it'll break it down to tens and ones and so forth. And it doesn't do it for only for anything that can be broken down. For example, even currency. Right, so if you were to go to US currency, and I can pick a $10 bill, right? I can break it down as well. So you can do dollars, and then from dollars it will go into cents and so forth. So it's quite useful to do all of these things. Okay. Clear. So if you want to clear the screen, you can just go to the top here. You can say clear page, and it'll clear everything on the screen for you. Remember, as a teacher, anything that you put on the screen, the students cannot move, right? So if you want to create like a drag and drop activity or something, you have to use the select tool, right? And go here and say enable student clone or enable student move. If you set it to clone, they don't have to go through, it becomes an automatic infinite cloner. Right? So if I were to go to page number 7, for example, as a student, right, I can just go here and say the move tool, and if I just drag it, it'll just keep making copies of it. Right? So it makes it super easy for creating drag and drop activities for younger kids as well. There is in the grids section, I will not show you some of the other things as well, like this drop zone and then cards and math cards, and time machine is quite useful actually. So if you're giving, let me show you that first. So if let's say I had given work to Sid to finish at his own pace, right? He drew this really pretty picture. And then they were working asynchronously. The teacher doesn't need to be connected for the kids to use Whiteboard.chat. So I can go back and say, open the time machine, and then I can replay his work as he started, right? From back into time and forward, and see how did he do the work, where was he struggling, how much time did he spend on each of these activities. So it makes it super interesting to, even when the kids are working asynchronously, you can actually see how did they approach the problem. Okay, so let me go back, continue.
There's just one comment about this being as a really good tool for testing, and so maybe you could show them within that context the class timer and all that too.
Sure. So on the top here, there are timers built in, so you can actually start a timer. You can say there's a 5-minute timer, or you can, and then you can set it to lock the boards on timers expiry. So if you can set it to start immediately as I start now, and all the students see it. And when the timer runs out, it'll lock or it'll sound an alarm. Or you can set it to, if you're even giving students a timed activity to do asynchronously, you can say after they join, they have 30 minutes to finish the thing, right? So you can do that and it'll lock it. And once you lock the board, once the board is locked, the students don't have, so I'll show you, you can lock the class, right? And then the students don't have the ability to change anything on, they get a read-only view of the system, right? So, and then the teacher can still check, they can put their comments, and the students still have access by clicking the same invite link. They can go back to their work and check what the teacher has done. So there's no submission, all of that stuff is gone, right? Like teacher always has access to their work, and they don't have to submit it. You don't have to follow up. You always see what they're doing at all. So that's also useful.
So question about the compatibility with devices on your take.
Yeah, so it works on all kinds of devices, from tiny mobile phones to Chromebooks to iPads to, yeah, it's a browser-based platform, so it works everywhere. We have, so for example, when your kids are working in mobile mode, it actually is pretty cool that it automatically resizes to the mobile screen as well. So like this is an emulated mobile phone though, but you get the picture. So they can actually use it really nicely with the mobile device as well. And it auto zooms in and out as well, depending on what the teacher has put. Right, so it works really nice on mobile devices too. What else? There's an infinite cloner for the teachers to prepare lessons. You can use that. If you put animations, you can use that. There's a select and crop. So if you want to crop certain part of the images of PDFs and stuff that you have put, you can use that tool here as well. The move and resize is for moving objects. Again, you don't need to lock anything that you put in. The students can lock if they want to, right? I mean, the students cannot move anything the teacher puts, right? And they cannot even see each other's work. Right, so, okay, then go back to my book. So that was the most of the tools on the left-hand side, which I wanted to show you today. Again, I recommend either you join our advanced webinar, which happens in 2 weeks from now, or you can watch the video. Either way, we'll show you some of the other features that are on the left side toolbar. Right, on the top here, this is a really cool thing too. Basically, it's a brain break. So we change it every season. So basically, if you want to give everybody a brain break, you just click that for 10 seconds and you'll see this Valentine's Day and Chinese New Year stickers come out, right? So, and we keep changing it every so often. Students like it a lot. In the participant panel here on the top, you can see, you can showcase a student's work. So let's say if a student is doing really well and you want to showcase their work to the rest of the class anonymously, you can just click the little showcase button and everybody's board will update to show that student's work. Like, so if I say this showcase work, it'll update. Oh, okay. All right, so you can make co-teachers. You can have co-teachers in your classroom. If you have more than one teacher, you can make the somebody a co-teacher. Like, let's say I want to make this guy a co-teacher. Earlier, they did not have access to the grid view. Now you can see that they got access to the grid view. They can see everything, right? And then you can take away the co-teacher access from here as well. Right? And then they go back to their individual board and doing whatever they need to. I'll show you some other things here which are quite cool. So lock class, I told you, you can lock the class, right? For example, if you don't want the students to be writing on their boards when you're teaching, you can lock it. You can lock individual pages. If you want to set the lesson to be teacher paced instead of to student paced, you can turn on the follow teacher mode. So as you turn the pages, right, the student's page turns too. So you don't have to tell them where to go. They're always on the same page as you. This chart is also pretty cool. Oh, before we go that, we just recently added this one-on-one calling as well. So if you are on a call, like we are right now, and you want to quickly chat with a single student, you can just hit this little call button. It'll pop up a little mobile phone on their side, right? And our side, right? On the teacher side. And you can quickly chat with them one-on-one, right? And then once you're done, you can just hang up. Right. Again, this is also very useful if you want to just talk to a single student and not in front of the whole class, just mute the whole class and talk to that one student right off the bat, right? So that's also quite useful. This create chat is also a very cool feature. Only the teacher can initiate the chat. So the teacher can create a chat. What that does is a many-to-one chat. So whatever the teacher types goes to all the students, but what the student types goes back only to the teacher, right? But the really cool thing is that the students can set their chat language as well. So they can change it to say, hey, I don't understand English. Maybe I understand Arabic, right? So, and then whatever and the teacher types, you can see that it auto converts it to their language, and vice versa. So if the student types in their language, if the teacher picks English, it will convert it back to English as well. So it helps a lot to communicate with students who are not speaking the same language as you. We also have speech to text built in, which again, you'll have to turn on from here. You turn on speech to text, right? And then the speech to text actually does, so whenever you want to input text, for example, it will ask you which language you are speaking. So, and what language you want to translate to, right? So you can actually have it translate from Hindi to, let's say, English, to English. And then again, this has over 150 different languages. So you can say, Mera naam Pawan hai. Right, so you see it not only wrote what I said in Hindi, but it actually translated it live to English as well. Again, this is very useful for students who are learning a new language or they don't speak the same language as the teacher. So all of that stuff you can do from here. The group boards, again, I'm not going to cover because it takes a lot of time, but you can create group activities where the teacher has more control as to who can do what. So all of that is possible through this as well.
Couple of questions, Pawan. What is the maximum number of students we can invite?
So on a given board, that's a good question. On a given board, you can have 120 different students, but you can make copies of your board. So what most teachers do is if you click this little cloud icon, right, you can download the work, you can save a copy, or you can send a copy to another. So let's say you prepared a nice board, you want to share it with your co-teachers, you can send a copy of that board to the teachers. As soon as they click that copy, it will create a copy for them and they can use it for their class and they won't disrupt your work. Right? You can save copies for yourself for section A, section B, section C, right? And each copy you can have 120 students on it. You can download a lot of things. You can download the whole work as a PDF. The students can download their work as PDF and upload it somewhere else if they not want to, and so forth. So there's a lot of different things to explore as well on this little cloud.
Great. And is there an expiration date after saving students as well?
So yeah, so that's one of the things that the storage plans give you. So like I was saying, all of the things I'm showing you is all free. But if you go to the subscription page, so if you go to Whiteboard.chat, right, you go to pricing, the free one, the boards expire in 7 days. If you get a paid plan, they expire in 4 weeks. But both of these you can extend indefinitely. You just have to remember to go there and press refresh. I will show you where it is. Well, you can keep extending it indefinitely, but as you can see, the storage is what you pay for essentially at that point. And these are yearly pricing. So all of the work, sorry, right?
Sorry, Pawan, I think there's one question that can use some clarification. So can students share their board with the teacher via link?
That's a good question. The students do not need to share anything with the teacher, right? So the teacher can see all the students. So this is the student's board. Let me clarify this again. So this is the student's board. They are writing on their own board. You can see the teacher's board is not getting impacted at all, right? The teacher just needs to go to the grid view and they can see over the shoulder of all the students and they can join this particular student's board right from here. So they don't need to share anything with you. You already have all of their work being saved with you, right? And then you can go to manage boards, right? And even so in the manage boards, you'll see all of your work. You can create folders here. You can see all of your classes. So for example, this 10th webinar work that I was doing, you can see I have my board and all of my students' board all getting saved here. So nobody needs to change anything. Right? You don't need to share anything. You don't need to. And the students can get back to their work anytime by clicking the same invite link that from this button that you had either shared with them on a Google Classroom or Teams or through email, right? And as soon as they click it, it'll take them exactly back to the work where they left off and they can continue working on it. And you can keep watching them either live or later on. There's no submission. There's no interaction, none of that. I forgot to show the grids. Yeah. There is no duration for the session. You can keep using it forever. There's no limitation. The grids are quite useful. Again, we keep adding new things into it. So there's like a big grid here. There's a small grid. There is an isometric grid, which you can use.
Wood in a living tree is known as green. It contains a lot of water.
Sorry. Right. So you can use this in conjunction with 3D shapes. We have 3D shapes in here. Right. So you can use those. There's a handwriting grid for younger kids. There's college line. This works really nicely. A lot of teachers use this with a background color. So if you go to this 3 dots menu, you can set a background color, right? It looks like a really nice notebook, right? You can actually set the background image as well. This is also quite interesting. Teachers do that to personalize their work. Either you can pick from our images or you can make your own. You can upload your own, and then it starts to look like this. There is a coordinate plane built in, so you can actually create a coordinate plane grid as well for math. You can use this in conjunction with the dot painter or a line drawing tool or a graph drawing tool. You can do a lot of different things with it, right? There's a primary line, there's a music sheet. So this you can use in conjunction with, go back here for music theory. You can go to music here. There's mind maps built in. There is a lot of different things, right? So you can keep using. There's also a under widgets. There's a whole bunch of things under widgets. Like for example, there's also a xylophone. There's a 2-octave piano, so you can actually play live music or teach your kids to play music in it. You can embed YouTube videos. This is also very interesting. You just go to YouTube, right? You can find a video that you want the kids to watch. Let's say this one. Oops, this is an ad. Yeah, so you just put the YouTube URL. You can say start at what time. So start at 20 seconds and end at 120 seconds. If you don't want the students to watch the whole video, it will show up exactly like this on their pages as well. So, and they can, when they click play, it'll only start at 20 seconds and end at 120 seconds. So they don't have to watch the whole thing. It even takes out the ad. So then that's also quite useful. If you're doing in-person classes, this is also quite useful. And there's a student name spinner. There's a spinner that you can program with different things. But like if you want the student to take students' turns, you can use the student name spinner. You can click it or the students can click it. There's the screen shade thing which teachers like as well. There you go. Here. So you can draw, like for example, if you want to cover the screen and you want to expose the answers slowly to the teachers, you can actually put that there. And then when you start to pull that down, then they start to see the answers. And if they are in person or they're in, if you're projecting this on a big board or putting it on a large TV, you can use this as well. So it's very useful for hybrid kind of teaching as well. So there's a lot of different things. There's a compass, there's calculators, there's graphing calculators, there's a molecule editor, there is a DNA editor. It's for every subject, every class. And we can add new things to it pretty easily if there's something missing and you think that, hey, I wish this had this, we can add to it. You can create exit tickets, you can create forms, there's a stoplight. So basically, it's like a one-stop shop essentially for all your needs really and the students' needs. It has math manipulators, algebraic tiles, it has set squares, protractors, rulers, shapes, 10 frames, place value charts, place value discs, numicons, number lines, right? Snap tiles, fraction tiles, touch point numbers, charts, anything really that you can think of is, I'm pretty sure you can find it. If not, you can add your own objects too. So if you, let's say you, there's something missing and you wanted to add new things to it, you can actually add your personal library of objects in here as well, which is quite useful. Again, I'll stop for a second and see if there are questions.
No new questions.
All right, so I think we have explained a lot of things to you today. I want to stop here. What I'll do is that I'm going to create a bingo board. This is another good way for the people to get started with introducing Whiteboard.chat to students. So I'll show you how to do that. Right, so online you can find these places where you can create these bingo tiles, right? Where each page of the bingo of the PDF is a different bingo tile, right? So you can go to Whiteboard.chat, start a new session, right? And when you upload, you say I'm uploading bingo, right? Upload bingo, and then you just find this bingo sheet. So what it does is that this has, I think, over 20 different tiles or something. It has 25. So for each participant that joins, it's going to assign a different tile to them out of this, right? So you can create this. You can probably put a spinner from here as well. So if I go to widgets, right, you can even put a spinner. The spinner you can program, so you can just click this and say students can spin or not, or this already has all of this, right? So you can put whatever text you want for the spinner, right? So it'll come up with that thing. And then again, I'll invite you. So I'm going to invite all of you guys via the chat, Zoom chat. If you click that link, it'll ask you for your name, and then you can just join this board. And then you can play bingo with me, right? And if you join, you can see that you can click the spin button. It'll show you who spun the spinner, right? And then whatever letter, just use the text to or any other manipulators to cover what you're doing, right? So you can see how to play. So it's quite easy. And as a teacher, this is the cool part, right? I can kind of cheat. So you can change the setting of the grid to say 3 by 3 because there's more of, you can see that, hey, who's winning, who's losing. Miss Daly already has one tile, some covered, some of them have less than one. So you can call out, if you're not using a spinner, you can call out different things. And then you can set the spinner so that students cannot spin it. Only teachers can too, right? So that's another option to set. And then you can call out numbers for them. So it's a good way to get started to explore Whiteboard.chat. Teachers, in the manage boards, if you go to manage boards, there's another cool thing that you could go to community boards. The teachers from around the world have shared their boards for free, so you can get some inspiration. They're from different grade levels, they're from different geographical locations. Like there's a UK geography lesson for 12th grade. This is Jessica the hippo. So there's a lot of different things people have shared for free. You can get some inspiration from the community boards as well. So to get there, just hit the manage boards, right? And then go to community boards on the top. All right. Any other questions or anything you want me to recover, which I have already, and then it confusing you? I'll be happy to do that.
You might want to mention the PD certificate.
Oh yeah. So we do give out PD certificates for this webinar. So if you want, you can send an email to our email, feedback@whiteboard.chat. Sid will put a link and then with your name, and then we'll send you out a PD certificate.
There's a request to demonstrate how to upload the file.
Oh yeah, sure. So if you go to the left here on the page, you can say upload. You can upload files from the computer, from Google Drive, even from live worksheet. I don't know if you have done live worksheets or if you do math worksheets. So you can go to live worksheets, for example, and I say, let's say I like this one. Right, I can just copy this link and then upload it directly from there. You can say upload, put the URL, and it'll upload it. So yeah, so if it has multiple pages on that one, then so, but anyway, it came up here automatically. Yeah, Google Drive is the same. So you can just do the same thing from Google Drive. So you hit upload, you can say upload files from Google Drive. It'll ask you to authenticate against your account. And then if best way is to search for files. Google renders it kind of strange, but if you search, you'll find what you're looking for and you can upload it directly from here. If it is a Google presentation, it'll upload that as well. Yeah, I think we have covered maybe 10% of the features of Whiteboard.chat today. But again, just to not overwhelm people, this is all we cover in the basic webinar. And then you can explore on your own. But please reach out to us anytime you have questions or suggestions or something is not working, and we can try and look and see how we can make that better. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. We can continue to stay here and answer questions if you have.